Hello, fellow cyborgs. Today I'm going to talk to you about how I rate books and why I think 3 is the saddest number of stars to give a book. So in general, how I rate lines up with how Goodreads rates books or allows us to rate books, which 1 star is I didn't like it, 2 it's okay, 3 I liked it, 4 I really liked it, 5 I loved it. I really like how this system doesn't disparage books, even though I know some people are angry that you can't dislike a book more as far as its rating goes. But I think it's very nice and kind and respectful to say if you hated a book, that it wasn't for you. You didn't like it, it wasn't for you. Maybe someone else in the world loves it, or it helped them through a tough time, or helped them learn English. I really like that idea, though, that rather than from I hated it to I loved it, and it only spans 5 stars, you go from I didn't like it, it wasn't for me, to I loved it. So I really like that. However, I've found that recently I've been having a tough time deciding what merits 3 stars. And I will tell you why. Because I think 3 is just it's just a sad number of stars to give a book. So most books that I give 3 stars, I could have given 2 stars. 3 stars means that it wasn't a slog to read, but I didn't care for something about it, or it wasn't a slog to read, but it left no impression. I give books 3 stars when I want to give them 2, but it wasn't arduous of a reading experience. That's a lot of the time what 3 stars are from me. So really, they should be 2 stars because I only thought they were okay, but because I didn't hate every moment of reading it, or I didn't dread reading it, that's why it gets 3 stars rather than just 2. A lot of 3-star books as well are disappointing books, which sounds like I should rate them lower, but I don't blame that book. So if I had hopes of loving this book and the book was not what I was expecting, I will give it 3 stars because I liked it, but it really disappointed me based on my ridiculous, it turned out, expectations. Some 3 stars are pitiable 3 stars because it was like, if only the author had done blank, this would have been 4. You know, it's sad because you can see it. 3-star books are like, you had so much potential, or like, there were mermaids in it, or this took place in my hometown, but you disappointed me, and this doesn't merit my love. You know, I'm getting disappointed and sad just thinking about 3 stars because, like, legit, 3 stars are the saddest books. And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that it just leaves you feeling blah. With my personal book club, the best discussions are when we have problems with a book. It is easy when you hate a book to go, I hated this because blah, blah, blah. You can easily or more easily pinpoint what the author was doing wrong. It's hard sometimes to communicate your love for a book because everything was just going right and you couldn't imagine it going wrong. With 3 stars, however, sometimes you're like, I don't know what they did wrong, but it was something because I didn't love it. Or a 3-star could be, I loved the concept, but you didn't pull it off, author, which is also sad. Lately, I've been rather good at picking books for myself, of being able to judge whether a book's for me or not. So I rarely give out 1 or 2 stars. So most of the time, the part of the rating system I use the most is 3 through 5. So with that new scale, 3 is also the worst I could give. It's almost like 3 is my new 1 star. 3 stars are books I normally don't keep as well. So I wasted my money on a book that I'm not going to keep, and I didn't even get a fun, angry rant out of it. I just got this blah, this could have been so much better, it could have been so much worse, but instead it's just this sad, neutral territory, like the blandest vanilla pudding you've ever tasted. Vanilla pudding can be great. Vanilla pudding can be terrible and gross, but maybe the saddest vanilla pudding of all is the one that just doesn't leave any taste in your mouth once you're done eating it. I don't know. So I've talked about why 3 is the saddest number of stars. Before I go, I want to talk to you about differences in ratings based on genre. So I tend to be very liberal in my 4 and 5 stars when I read graphic novels, children's books, and poetry collections. And that's because I feel a bit like a novice in those genre groupings. I'm not educated to know what is outstanding in the field and what is just mediocre because I haven't read a lot. I know what I want in a fiction novel, but not so much in a graphic novel or comic book or children's book, picture book, or poetry collection. And so if I enjoyed something and I really liked it, chances are I'm going to give it a 5-star instead of a 4. If I liked it, but it didn't send me running for the hills, but I would continue on, I'll probably give that a 4-star. So even though if these were novels, they would be knocked down a star. So it's weird. Sometimes I feel like it's cheating or like I'm being too kind, but I like this system. It's all just like mishmashy and tricky, and that's fine. I also recently discovered a few books that I had read and rated on Goodreads before I had really gotten into reading and rating on Goodreads. You don't read on Goodreads. And I discovered some books like Her Fearful Symmetry, which I have the fondest memories of. I only gave 3 stars back when I originally read it, so I fixed that because why would I have such fond memories of it if it was truly only a 3-star? 3 stars for me today are unforgettable, and I remember things about Her Fearful Symmetry, and I really want to read it again. I normally don't change ratings, but I found a couple, like that one, where I was just like, what? What crack cocaine was I smoking back then that I thought this was only 3 stars? Or, I guess, I don't know, hindsight makes things look nicer? We'll see when I reread it, that's for sure. But I rarely change ratings. I rate my books immediately after I finish them. By the time I'm approaching the last 100 pages, I know if it's going to be a 3, a 3-4, a 4, a 4-5, a 5, or any of the lower ones. And so the final ending either knocks it up or remains it where it is. I don't have to think about it for a week after I finish something. I know my own mind by the end of a book. Maybe that has to do with me reading books rather slowly as well. I don't know. So I hope that made sense. This was a bit rambly. I didn't have like as many notes or as much of a structure as normal videos, but I hope that my point came across and you had fun learning about how I randomly rate things on Goodreads. You know, because it's super important. So important. It's like the most important thing you can do with your life, don't you think? Do you use Goodreads like this? You don't have to tell me in the comments, but it would be nice to know. Or if you're a creator and you want to make a video about how you rate books, I think that would be very interesting as well. Thank you for watching, and until next time, continue to be lovely.